can't afford to give John McCain the chance to serve out George Bush's third term. We need change in America, and that's why we will be united in November.
Obama. That's what Obama's about. Unity to this country and changing America's face to the world. Obama, Obama, Obama.
Barack Obama, the revelation.
While the rest of the nation gasped in denial over Barack Obama's ties to domestic terrorists turned University of Chicago professor William Ayers and racist radical preacher Jeremiah Wright, the most ominous ties Barack Obama keeps are oddly ignored. In a show of bipartisan solidarity, the likes of which Washington rarely sees, the infamous Skull and Bones secret society has unofficially endorsed Barack Obama as its choice for the 2008 presidential elections. The friendly masks have been cast aside, and the wolves of the order are now shown as such by their own actions and omissions. Those who hoped in change will get what they have been begging for, the third back-to-back Skull and Bones-dominated administration. While the candidates themselves aren't actual bonesmen this time around, clearly Skull and Bones is still determined to have a hand in the next administration, regardless of which candidate wins come November. The revelation of Skull and Bones support in the 2008 presidential election should come as no surprise to those who know their history. One can easily locate evidence of elite backing by merely perusing through campaign donation records. Follow the money. John McCain literally has a fraction of the funds that Barack Obama has in his war chest. Barack Obama has nearly 4 times the Goldman Sachs donations that John McCain has. In fact, Goldman Sachs employees are Barack Obama's single biggest contributors. On a separate note, Obama's next biggest contributor is the University of California. Skull and Bones member Daniel Coit Gilman was the second president of the University of California, and his influence on the UC system and education as a whole continues to be felt to this day. Paradoxically, the Skull and Bones-laden Bush administration also boasts extremely close ties to Goldman Sachs. White House Chief of Staff Josh Bolten, Robert Zoellick, bailout architect and Treasury Secretary Henry Paulson, and Paulson's deranged-looking protege Neil Kashkari are all former Goldman Sachs execs. The newly created Office of Financial Stability is in charge of doling out funds from the $700 billion bailout package, which will then be used to further consolidate wealth into the coffers of participating corporations, the majority of whom appear to be ardent Barack Obama supporters. Another notable Obama supporter is former National Security Advisor to President Carter, Zbigniew Brzezinski, who apparently has been Obama's guardian angel since Barack's Columbia University days when he and Zbigniew first met. As National Security Advisor when he wasn't arming and training Osama bin Laden and his Mujahideen, later to reorganize into Al-Qaeda, Brzezinski was attending Bilderberg group meetings and co-founding the Trilateral Commission with fellow CFR member and devout international elitist David Rockefeller.
To Dr. Brzezinski, I can't say enough about his contribution to our country. He has proven to be an outstanding friend and somebody who I've learned an immense amount from, and for him to support me in this campaign and then...
Brzezinski, labeled by some as a neoconservative Democrat due to his close ties with the University of Chicago graduate and neoconservative PNAC signatory Paul Wolfowitz, is currently a professor of American Foreign Policy at Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies. Johns Hopkins University's first president was also Skull and Bones kingpin Daniel Coit Gilman. Get this, Brzezinski's son, Ian Brzezinski, is employed by the John McCain presidential campaign. Brzezinski's other son, Mark Brzezinski, is an advisor to the Barack Obama presidential campaign. Obviously Hegelian, of course, but for some reason, apparently not newsworthy. Next, we will move on to Skull and Bones member, CIA agent, and supposed conservative icon William F. Buckley Jr., who founded the National Review political magazine in 1955. National Review was to be one part, the right, of the left-right Hegelian political control process. The goal of the magazine's creation was to influence the political right along with social and fiscal conservatives towards more centrist and populist ideologies while diminishing the influence of the traditional conservatives. In the 1970s, the National Review became an early driving force promoting the spread and defense of neoconservative ideology, an ideology it has maintained ever since. Finally, after 50 years of masquerading as a conservative publication, in a brazen manifestation of the false left-right paradigm, the openly neoconservative National Review Online has recently published materials calling for the dissolution of the Republican ticket a little more than a month from the election. Another Buckley, a National Review writer, is the son of William F. Buckley Jr., Christopher Buckley, who writes the back page column for National Review and runs a news site called The Daily Beast. Christopher Buckley, who like his father is also a Skull and Bones patriarch, has recently made headlines by his open endorsement of Barack Obama. The manipulation continues in an article on Christopher Buckley's The Daily Beast website where he lambasts Blackstone Group co-founder Stephen Schwarzman for excess and arrogance. This apparent infighting is nothing more than managed conflict meant to garner trust and agreement from conservatives. We know this because Buckley, like Schwarzman, is a member of Skull and Bones and a large Republican contributor. Schwarzman founded the Blackstone Group with Peter Peterson, who served as Lehman Brothers CEO before going on to succeed Brzezinski's old buddy, David Rockefeller, to the position of director of the CFR in 1985, a post Peter Peterson held for 22 years. All of the 2008 presidential candidates, with the exception of Ron Paul, are members of the CFR, as are most Washington insiders and social engineers like Angelina Jolie and Pastor Rick Warren. It also must be noted that Barack Obama's wife, Michelle Obama, is listed as a director for the CFR in Chicago, and perhaps it was destiny for young Barack Obama to one day ascend into the ranks of the global elite. After all, Stanley Dunham, Obama's maternal grandfather, is a seventh cousin once removed of former CFR director and current Vice President Dick Cheney. Look it up if you need to.